Good morning. Is that better? Am I too low? Good morning. Good morning. Perfect. Thank you. So, good morning to everyone. Welcome to our CTEIS Spring Task Training. We're going to get started in just a moment. I like to give a few minutes for everyone to get logged in. We have another big class. We have one on Tuesdays and on Tuesdays training, and we also have one today. So I want to make sure that everyone gets in. So we're going to be starting in just a minute. I'm going to go back on mute. I don't want to confuse anyone by thinking something cut out. So about 9:05, 9:06, I'm going to come back in and we're going to officially get started. This is just to allow for others to log in. So good morning. Good morning. We're back. And yep. Good morning to everyone, and welcome to our 2023 Spring Enrollment Task Training. My name is Dewana McCreary, and I'm going to be presenting the training material this morning. In the chat, we also have Diana Terry from PTD, who is our scheduler, and you may see her name pop up in the chat. She's going to be monitoring our chat and helping us where needed. So we appreciate her being here today. Hopefully you didn't have too much trouble getting in, but as hopefully you can see on your screen, we have our agenda, and it lists what we're going to be going through today for today's training. Is there anyone in the chat? I know we didn't introduce ourselves as we did in the last training, but if you can take time now to introduce yourself. And I know that some of you only see first and last name initials or in your chat, but if you could just drop your first name, how long you've been a user in CTEIS, what your role is, your district, we would really appreciate it. Can you all hear me now? Yep, I see some people are responding, so I think they can hear me. So again, just your first name, your role, how long you've been in CTEIS. We just like to kind of create a CTEIS community, let everyone know if there's anyone new. Maybe we have some new users who have joined us since the last time we have training. We had training in the fall, so if there's anyone on and this is your first training, we would like to know that. Oh, hello, first trainer. This is her first training. Hello and welcome. Welcome, welcome. Okay, we have someone in the chat that says they don't have any audio. And try to message her because I'm pretty sure she can't hear us. Okay, perfect. Thank you, Diana. I appreciate that. Well, again, welcome to everyone. I see that there are some new and there are some who've been doing this for a while. So we're going to kind of have a little bit of a wide variety of information we're going to share just to try to hit on a little bit of things so that we can catch our new users up and also just inform everyone who's been here for a while what's new. So as you can see, number one is our introduction. We always like to start with our CETA support resources and our PTD contact information. So we're going to go through that. And then on number two, we're going to go through what's new. What are the new CETIS updates for spring 2023? We're then going to move into the tasks for the coming weeks. And like I said, if you've been in our training before, you know that this training was previously called Optimizing Spring Training, but now it's called Spring Enrollment Task Training. And the change is because we wanted to focus more on what the tasks are for the coming weeks leading up into the enrollment collection period, which we know that that report is due in June. So we're trying to identify all of the tasks that you should be doing for the upcoming weeks. So we're going to go through that. We have a second page of our agenda, and it says number 4, we're going to do demos. So we always like to do the demo, and our demos take place in train.cetis.com. And what that is that's just a training site that will allow you to practice some of the features that I will go through today without actually messing up your data. So if some of our new users have signed up for my login and you're already set to go, you can use train.cetis.com today to practice some of the features that I will show without messing up your actual data for your courses or for your buildings. Number 5, we're going to do a recap or overview of some of the topics from our fall data entry. And then we're going to do a looking ahead to, as I mentioned, our enrollment completion collection process. Okay, I am just reading the chat, and I see that there are still some audio issues with some of our attendees. I'm just gonna see if there's anything that we can do here. Oh, good. Glad to hear. Okay, good morning. If you just heard us, good morning and welcome. So I'm going to recap what I've been saying up until this point. You haven't missed anything if your sound just popped in, but glad to hear that you, or glad to see that you can hear us now. Okay, so getting started into our agenda. So as I stated, we're going to go back to our first page. In our introduction, we are going to go to our support.cetis.com, which is our knowledge base. You may hear me say our knowledge base a lot, and that's what I'm referring to, support.cetis.com. And we're going to go over our support resources and our PTD contact information. And for some of our new users, PTD partners with the Office of Career and Technical Education to present or to provide to give CTEIS, which is the application that you will use to input your classes, your students, and we're just going to go over a little bit of that information today. So that's what we're going to do. This agenda, along with the materials that I go through today, is also found on our knowledge base, which is the support.cetis.com. So I'm going to change my screen over to the knowledge base. And I'm going to change my screen a lot. I'm going to do a lot of screen sharing, especially for our demos. And I'm going to be coming back to our agenda so with that we can stay on task. So just to give you an idea of what's going on here. So I'm going to change my screen and go to our knowledge base. Now you should see on your screen, I'm screen sharing our knowledge base. Again, that's support.cetis.com. Okay, so when you're on the home page has some information on it. If you look on the right-hand side, down the right-hand side panel, there's information. There's dates of upcoming collection periods for the year. Some of these have already passed, but we're looking forward to, as I stated, those collection periods in June. Down here, there's also information about match dates that happen around May. So you can stay up to date and current by just remembering to look at those dates. In the center here, these links will take you to different parts of the knowledge base, but you can also use the tabs across the top. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to hover over data entry and we're going to go to enrollments. Under our enrollments homepage, you see that there's fall data entry information. If you want to go back and review information from fall data, all of that information is there. Our new users, our fall data, quick links, In the center, there's our spring collection, and that's where we're going to have all of our information from today. Again, we previously called this training session Optimizing Spring Enrollment, but now it's Spring Enrollment Task Training. So this is the link that you want to use to get all of the information that I'm going to be going through today. So if you click this link, and just to give you an idea of the other information, if you go to the right-hand side, that's general information. We have instructional design forms, information about UICs. In our special collections, I will be going over this a little bit later. We have managed credentials and work-based learning. And then we have our Perkins 5 instructional design. So you can utilize all of these resources here. But again, today we're going to be going under our spring enrollment tasks. Under our spring enrollment tasks homepage, this is all of the information that we're going to be going through in training today. And this is our support information. So we're just going to briefly go through and touch on some points here, just so everyone's up to speed on the background. All right, so CTEIS support and assistance. So if at any time you're in the CTEIS application, and that's the CTEIS inputting your courses, if at any time you're in there and you run into some technical issues, you can contact the help desk. So it just provides a background. PTD technology provides technical support to districts operating career and technical education, also known as CTE programs. The CTEIS Help Desk provides the technical support and may answer questions related to the CTEIS application. So questions of a technical nature may include, how do I navigate CTEIS? How do I import student records? Or how do I send completed reports to OCTE? So you want to reach out to the help desk if you're having technical problems. If you're in the application and you get an error, you want to make sure that it's a technical issue and not just a error of your data, but if it's kicking back and you don't understand the error codes, you can reach out to the help desk for assistance. If you need assistance regarding policy, you want to contact OCTE directly. Questions that relate to policy are, how do I set up my classes for reporting purposes, and am I allowed to begin my follow-up surveys early? Questions of a policy nature they have to be directed to OCTE directly. Okay, so PTD help desk or the CTEIS help desk cannot answer the policy questions. We do offer support for all of the collection periods, and this is just a breakdown of some of those. The expenditures, we had that in the fall. Follow-up was in the fall. And then we provide our knowledge base, as I stated already, the support.ctis.com. So all of our documentation that we put out, you can find it on the knowledge base. We also have a YouTube channel where, for instance, this recording of this training, we're going to put it on our knowledge base, but it's also on our YouTube channel. So if you want to follow our YouTube channel, you can do that. But again, you could just refer to the knowledge base and it's on there as well. So some of our training modules for different collection periods or how to put in your information, you can find that on YouTube or on the knowledge base. We do have videos for that. One thing that I'd like to point out is our CTEIS listserv. When we have updates to the application, if there is system updates or if the system is down or any information that we need to inform you of regarding the CTEIS application, we usually do that through email. And you need to make sure that you're signed up for the listserv. And you can do that by contacting Jackie Martinez, and her email address is here. You want to reach out to her and ask to be added to the listserv so that you're up to date if there's any information that we need to communicate with you. So it's a really good tool to have. Newsletters, system updates. If the system is down, we try to make sure that that information is communicated through email. Okay, so that's our support, and know that support is always available. The next link that we're going to go through is our CTEIS overview. And this is just an introduction. Maybe, like I said, this is your first time. So you can look over this document and get some information on the background. Our collection periods are enrollment, expenditures, and follow-up. For enrollment, they begin in September with our fall course collection. And then in the spring, you're collecting your spring information so that it can be completed in June. So that's our enrollment. For expenditures, they begin in September and complete in November. And then for follow-up, they begin in October and complete in January. So that's the main collection periods, but as you can see, enrollment has two, and then expenditures and follow-up. This next bit of information covers the primary goals and roles of CTEIS. The primary goal is to collect CTE enrollment data to determine 61A1 and 61B fund distribution. And we collect data required for federal Perkins reporting. And then some of the secondary goals is to link your CTE data to information housed within the MSDS. So it just gives a little bit of background here. See this on the web. It just lets you know you don't need to install any softwares. Just some information there. This link here is to my login, but I'm going to show another document that specifically talks about my login, but this is what you do need a my login to access CTEIS. So we'll get into that in just a second. This next document is roles and access, and basically breaks down all of the roles. I know that some of you put your roles in our chat this morning, and I thank you all for doing that. But it breaks down the roles and gives a little bit of a definition to what's expected of each role and who does what, basically. So all of that information is here. This is a little graphic of how the process works in regards to the roles. Terminology that you may hear: SIP code. If you hear me say SIP code, it's the classification of instructional programming code. If I say PSN, it's the program serial number information. FA, fiscal agency, we're talking about geographic and building. And this is all information that we covered in our new user training, but it's here for your resource for spring. Again, if you just joined us. This is information regarding the access level. So depending on your access level and the level of data you have available to you. So this is just a breakdown here. Okay. This is the CTEIS timeline. We're going to go back to the top here. And it breaks down the timeline by collection period. So this is the expenditures report, the fall data entry for enrollment, the follow-up survey. So it breaks down who completes this, when is it due, why are we doing it, what's the purpose. So it just gives information here. Enrollment and completion collection. So you can look through that information if you just need to refresh on some of the purposes for the collection periods. This is a timeline broken up by your role. So this is for building reporter. So by the months, it lists what it is that you should be doing or should have turned in, just to kind of keep you up to date on what's coming up. So that's for the building reporter, the fiscal agent, and then for the CPID administrator. And then, as I stated, the My Login access instructions. Hopefully, you all have already went through this process. If not, you need to make sure that you sign up for a My Login for third party. That's the only way that you can access CTEIS. So this is just instructional information regarding how to sign up. If you click this link here, it will give you a more detailed guide of how to sign up for My Login and the process of verification. So just make sure you get that taken care of to gain access to the CTEIS application. And again, for today's training, if you want to utilize the train.ctis.com, you do have to have your My Login credentials. This document is current due dates, and this is for the year. We received these due dates from OCTE, and we just put it up here. So all of the due dates that are coming up that we have left here, the match dates, want to make sure that all of that information, you have that handy and you're keeping up to date on it. So this is just another document. This next link is our CTEIS process. And as I stated, all of the information goes into the CTEIS application, but this is the process, and it breaks down each specific process and gives a little bit of background. So you want to collect your data, verify your data, input your data, and then complete and submit your reports. So this is just background information on all of those specific topics and some best practices here of what we think you can use to make sure and verify your data, make sure your data is in order so that you don't have any errors when you're trying to input the information or submit the information at the enrollment and completion collection periods. And some of this information, the process we will go over during the training, because I'm going to go through some of the screens in our demos, but this is just the background information. Terms and abbreviations, again, some of our terminology I went through a little bit, but this is a glossary of some of the terms that you may see or that you may hear. So this is just definitions. This is the terms of advancement for reporting. So you may see enrollee or participant, and then the terms of advancement for funding. So you want to keep all of those in mind. And then this here is just a document to point out the information that's on our knowledge base support.ctis.com and how it's broken up. So as I stated today, we're going to be in data entry a lot under enrollments, but if this was in the fall, we may be under expenditures or follow-up. We're going to do a little bit of imports today. So all of that information is there. Other resources is training links, registration, our user group notes is under our resources and some newsletters, and then our reports. And I'll show you those tabs in just a second. So up here across the top panel, you can hover over, but again, this is our enrollment expenditures. There's all documentation for those. For fiscal agents and CPID admins, we do have training sessions as well, but if you want to look at that information, there's some documents in there. Again, our training videos, our registration information is under this tab. Our user group meetings, they have CTEIS user group, and some of the meeting information is located here. our newsletters when we send out through our listserv. And then CTEIS reports, the dashboards and CTEIS.com reports. So all of the information is there. I'm going to show you how to utilize some reports for your data and for your students a little bit later on in the training, but just to let you know where all of this information is on the knowledge base. Okay, so we went through all of our support. I'm going to go back to our agenda. Number 2, what's new? So some of the information that I'm going to go through today is new information. So you want to make sure that you get that information. We're going to go into the tasks. I'm going to point out what's new in just a minute, but I don't want to get ahead of the task. So the task for the coming weeks is to verify that CTE course sections are entered accurately. You want to make sure your teachers are properly assigned to classes. Make sure that your students have valid UICs. Your students are enrolled in the correct courses and will receive the segments or competencies they need. Credentials are linked to your students correctly, and your work-based learning experiences are recorded. Okay. So we're going to go into our, I'm going to go through some of our documentation just so all of this kind of makes sense. So we're kind of going to go into number 4 as I'm going here, but this is our demo where we're going to demo how to manage enrollment. This is some of the information that you're going to be doing in the upcoming weeks. So this is including importing with grades and then importing data, including courses, students, and grades. Okay, so we're going to go to our knowledge base to look at our resource documents so that we can get some instruction on how to do the task here. So we're still on the same Spring Enrollment task homepage. So our step 1 is to verify and input data here. So the first link that we have is manage courses. And again, we went in depth in the fall with managed courses, managed students, but today we're just going to kind of do an overview. So we're going to click this document here. So we're going to go back to the top. And this is our managed courses reference document. Okay, so the Manage Courses screen allows you to add, edit, and review course sections and segments. Course sections and segments or competencies are very important in identifying student advancement. So this gives us a breakdown of the importance of segments, sections, and segments. And then again, our categories of student advancement for reporting, for funding. That's a breakdown here. Number 2 is course sections and subsections, and it gives a breakdown of the course sections and subsections. Just information on how to define a course, and a course section is your zip code, your program type, the time of year, the time of day, the instructor, and the content. And that's how you define a course section. We know that students must pass their courses with a grade of a C or 2.0 or higher for the segments or competencies delivered by that course to be recorded. When you're inputting your courses, you may utilize the instructional design forms. There are forms available here, so this is just information about Perkins 4 instructional design forms, and you can use this link here to download an instructional design form if you need it. We know that Perkins 4 is segments. So each course section instructional design for segments should be determined by an instructor or CTE administrator and provided to the building reporter. And as a building reporter, you will collect this segment information from the teacher and set up your course sections accordingly. Okay, so that's Perkins 4. Perkins 5 uses competencies. And we know competencies are used to indicate the skills and knowledge enrolled students can demonstrate after completing a course. And the instructional design or competencies of each course section should be determined again by a CTE administrator or an instructor and provided to the building reporter. And then as the building reporter, you will collect this competency information and set up your course sections accordingly. So here is the instructional design form for Perkins 5. Again, this is just resources that you can use if you have need of the instructional design forms. So that's Perkins 4 and Perkins 5. Now talking about courses, this is step-by-step information on how to open the Managed Courses page in CTEIS. Again, we're going to demonstrate this. So again, you have to have your My Login. You're going to select click the data entry and then select Manage Courses. It asks you to select the district from a drop-down menu, and then you can go in and either input a course or edit a course. This gives step-by-step information on how to manually add new courses. And this is just screenshots of what you would see in the actual CTEIS application. Again, that's there. This next bit of information is the explanation of segments and competency profile panel. You'll see that on the side. Again, I'm going to show all of this in the demonstration, but this is just the background of your panels, whether it's a Perkins 4 or a Perkins 5, using segments or competencies. There's the panel. And you can see the information here in this screenshot of the CTEIS application. Number 6 explains how to navigate the course information panel. And the course information panel is where your data is for the course. It contains the course section code or CSC, the local course name, the course section start and end date. And you can enter these fields in manually, or you can do all of this information through an import. And I'm going to be getting into importing in just a moment. But these screenshots are from a manual entry. It has the semester, room number, course section period, whether the course is in a virtual delivery. And that's a breakdown there, not virtual, online course, blended, digital. So all of this information is in that panel. The type, there's a panel for the type of course, whether it's secondary or post-secondary. And then this information is for the segment profile. Again, this is a screenshot of what that looks like in the actual application, and this is for Perkins 4 courses. So the Perkins 4 courses still use segments. And again, you can use an instructional design form if needed to organize your data. You may see segment Q, which is in reference at the very bottom to the, you'll see that in the segment profile. So you might see segment Q down at the bottom. So you have all of your segments here, the example 1 through 12, 12 possible segments within a program for advancement status. And then segment Q is here down at the bottom. And segment Q is when a course covers specialized or advanced program content beyond the state program standards. So you'll see that. And then this is segment Q CTE EMC. So that's regular, that's EMC. And then moving into our competency profile. So just like segment, the competency profile is set up here. And you can, a student must earn all 12 competencies available within a program for advancement status. So then you can utilize that. And just like the segments, you have the Z course, the Q course, segment Q in segments, but Z course in competencies. When a course covers specialized or advanced program content beyond the state program standards, the content is delivered as a Z course. So just to give you an idea of what that is, if you haven't seen that already down at the bottom, so that's for regular and EMC. You have special cases. Some may have special cases. So this is information number 7 or on CTEIS course input, special cases, parenting and family studies, nutrition and food services. So that information is there. Number 8 is how to select dual enrollment in early middle college. And again, you have that panel there. There's search features that you can do if you have a lot of information and you want to kind of filter. So you can use the search features and filter out your information. So this is just examples on how to utilize the search feature in CTEIS. Number 10 is how to edit courses once your courses are already in. If you've created a course and it's in there and you need to make edits, this is step-by-step instructions on how to edit and screenshots of that. If you need to copy course information, and what that is copy the details from a course section in your database and apply them to a new course section, you can use the copy feature. Important notes about copying course information is you want to remember that the CSCs must remain unique among active courses. So if you do copy a course, you must deactivate the old course section before you can reuse a CSC. So just keep that in mind when you're inputting your data and you're copying courses. You need to take out the old courses so that it'll be a unique CSC. This is just information on how to determine if a course status is active or inactive. All of that information is in the panel. And then information on how to deactivate a course, an active course. We also have the information on how to add staff to courses. So again, all of this information was covered in our fall data entry where we had to create our course and add our staff, but we know for our enrollment and completion collection, we need to have all of our staff tied to our courses and all of our courses in. And this is step-by-step on how to add a staff member to a course. If you need to perform a mass course edit, this is step-by-step instructions on how to do it. This will allow you to update multiple detail fields across several course sections and adjust this would be useful if you need to adjust beginning and end dates for old courses to roll them into the current year. So if you have the same information that you're using and you need to roll it over, you can use a mass course edit feature and a step-by-step instructions here. And then we're getting into how we're going to import our courses. So again, you can do all of that information was for a manual enrollment, which you can do, or you can import. And I'll show you templates for importing. But we will say that importing courses or students is the easiest way to add and update several records. You can go back in and and edit your imported records later. And it states that importing courses is more accurate than manual data entry. So you just want to keep that in mind depending on what process you choose to use. And we're going to go through importing courses. The last section here shows how to review our course data. And if you use this link here, it will take you to a data review reference document on how to review your courses. And I'll get through all of the documentation on review towards the end of our demo so that you can check your work. But yeah, so we're going to go to our manage courses page just so I can demonstrate the features that I went through here and show you some of this information. So we're going to change our screen to train.cetis.com. And I have already been working in here, so we can get back to our home. So, okay, so this is the home page here, train.cetis.com. Again, if you want to use this, you can to practice some of the features, but just as our knowledge base, there's information here on the home page. Our dates are on the right panel. You can utilize the links here to be taken to some of the knowledge base information. So that knowledge base is really useful. So utilize the resources there. So as our managed courses told us, we're going to go to data entry, and then we're going to select manage courses. Okay, so this is our managed courses page. One second. And just an overview of the features that we talked about. So once you're logged in and you've successfully logged into CTEIS using your My Login, you can select the data entry and then select Manage Courses. It's going to prompt us to select our district here. So I'm going to be working out of Avondale School District. And as you can see, the radio buttons here says view active courses, view all courses. So right now I have it highlighted to view active courses. If I wanted to create a new course, I can click this button here and I'm going to select the building that it can go into and then select the program. Let's just demonstrate here. Let's say the program is this. And as you can see, the fields here at the bottom, it has my program information here. The type, this is a Perkins 4 course, so it's going to use segments as the PSN, our CPIN and fiscal information, fiscal agency, the building. So I can go in and manually enter in all of this course information. The asterisks here indicate information that must be entered in order to create the actual course. If I don't have this information in, then the course isn't created. If you see room number isn't highlighted or it does not have an asterisk, this is just for record information, but it's not required for a record in CTEIS. In the middle section, as I talked about, the virtual delivery mode, I can select here whether it's not virtual or online course or blended. I can select the appropriate course type, whether it's secondary CTE or post-secondary CTE. Moving down, we were talking about that segment profile. So it has our segments here. So we got 1 through 12, and then we have that Q segment down here at the bottom. So I can go through and select accordingly by clicking the boxes here. This panel here is course staff. Again, you need to have course staff attached to your courses. So I can select whether it's the primary staff, secondary full-time or part-time or additional, whatever applies. I can select here. And then I can use this here to enter in the staff pick number by pressing the little icon here. If I have the staff pick number handy, I can enter that information in and tie it to the course. Once I have all of the information in, we're going to click the add or you want to click the add course and then see this if it has all of the correct information. If the pick number is correct, all of the information is correct, it will update the course or add the course to your record. Okay, so I'm not going to add a course here. We're going to go into existing courses now. Okay, and as you see, you can utilize the top here. You can type into these fields to filter if you're looking for a specific course. But this lists all of the courses within the Avondale School District. And by clicking the book icon of an active course, the information will pop up in the panel here. Okay, so we have all of our information that we showed if we were creating a new course. It's already filled out here. Our segments are there, and our staff is there. So we have a pick number. So if at any time I need to go in and manually update any of this information, I can do that and then just click the update course button. If I need to copy course information, I can do that. If I need to deactivate course, I can also deactivate this course. So you can utilize those there. This is for manual course edits. As I stated, I just wanted to show you where the active course panel is, and you can see the Y's here. It's kind of faint, but it's here. I do apologize if you can't see it, but your active column is here. So it shows all of the active. That's how you determine a course status. Okay. So now we're going to demonstrate how to import a course. So I have a import record handy. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to data entry. I'm on manage courses, and this is where I can do for manual import of courses. I'm sorry, manual input of courses. But if I want to import courses, I need to click the import courses link here. Just a moment, I'm still here. I do apologize. It's taking a little bit to load. 1 second. Okay, so we are demonstrating how to import courses. So we're going to select our building. Again, I'm going to be working out of Avondale High School. So I'm going to select Avondale. So as I stated, you want to make sure that you have your import records. So there are templates available. I'll show you where those are. So back to our knowledge base. Let's go back to this is in our document here. This is our home page. We're going to go back to data entry. And if you go down to imports, we're going to show you how to get an import file if you haven't already created one. This is our import homepage. This is importing information for both students and courses. If you need file formats for students, that's going to be here. I'm going to have a student import demo in just a moment, but we're going to go to our file format for importing courses. And this is the file format for importing courses. This is an Excel document. So as you can see down here across the bottom panel, there are instructions on how to set up your import file. Okay, so this is a courses import template. You will be able to import your courses using this Excel spreadsheet template. And you will be able to import both Perkins 5 and Perkins 4 courses in the same import if you need to do that. Imports will still be based on buildings, so you would need to group them by buildings and select the building you want to enter them into. So I'll show you that in CTEIS. The import template will be similar in regards to course details, so you will be expected to provide all of the information in the columns for the import. Your import must contain all of the required columns, even if you don't use them. So say, for instance, if it's not a dual enrollment course, you need to make sure that you indicate no on the actual import template. Okay, so we have examples here. Perkins 4 course example. This example shows how to format Perkins 4 courses that will use segments. You must put the segment numbers in the unit columns and identify them by number 1, 2, all the way up to 12. You can just use the columns you need or space them out to make an instructional design, okay? So for a Perkins 4 course, this is an example. And as is stated, we have our CSC, our PSN, the name, room number, hour. Again, that's not, on the manual entry. That's something that wasn't there, but it's here. Virtual delivery, semester, begin date, end date, pick number, dual college credit. So you see it says no here. Those are no's. College credit, we have zeros. High school credit, zero. So no college credit or high school credit. This is our subsection. And then this is our units. So as you can see, they kind of spaced it out here. And then you have your segment Q here. This bottom part here is an example of how to flush left. So it's the course section code and all of the information. But as you see, when they have their segments here, they put them right up under each other. Okay, so you can do it either way. And then example 3 is a combination of both. So if you want to put all your courses in and set them up this way, you can do that. So it's your preference. You just got to make sure you have information in the fields that are required in order for the import to work. So that's for Perkins 4. For Perkins 5, this example shows how to format Perkins 5 courses or courses that will use competencies. You must put a competency into the unit columns, just like you did with segments. You can use the columns needed or space them out, just the same as segments. You can have a combined template, but we'll get to that in just a minute. So we have our Perkins 5 example. So again, our CSC, our PSN, our beginning and end date, our pick number for our staff, and then our competencies instead of segments. And as we can see, our competencies go all the way here, and then that Z course. So that's spaced out. And then the same example for competencies, if you want them to be stacked here, you can kind of stack them. And then an example of both. And again, these instructions are provided on the knowledge base. So if you want to use this template, you can just go through the tabs here to set up your import. Okay, so validations and rules for a course import is that your PSN is valid and in the selected building. If the course section for the building is new, a new record will be inserted. If the course section for the building exists in the system and is active and in the current year, it'll update. So if you put the same information in and it's active, it's an active course in CTEIS, it's already created, it will update that information. If a course section code in the building exists and it's not active or not in the current year, the existing course will be deactivated and the new course section will be created. So it's a renew. You have to have your local name, room, and hour are all required to have values. So unlike the manual, it wasn't required in a manual entry, but in an import, you got to have those fields filled in. Virtual delivery is one of the accepted values. So as we showed, there was not virtual, online, blended. So if you don't have anything in that virtual delivery cell, it's going to default to not virtual. Semester or semester may have it should have the following codes. If it's the first semester, second semester, summer sessions, 4, 5 is special semester, or 6 trimester. Again, these are all the fields that you need to have. The beginning and end date must have the current school year, and begin date and end date must be accurate. Pick number, your dual enrollment, your college credit or your high school credits. Subsections must be A, B, C, or D, or if you don't have anything in the subsection cell, it will default to A. Unit 1 through 35, these sections will identify segment or competencies, and it must be a number between 1 and 12 or a letter followed by a number. So we know for competencies, we use A2 or B6, but 1 through 12 for segments. And then you have your Z course or your segment Q. If a segment or competency is listed more than once, the additional will be ignored. If a new Perkins 4 course and no segment information is provided, segment 1 will be placed in subsection A. So this is just information telling you you have to have your information in or CTEIS will default. Okay. The Excel spreadsheet should only contain one worksheet. Additional fields in the spreadsheet are not identified in the template, so they'll be ignored. So if you have all of the required cells filled in and you have additional cells, maybe with your own information in there that you need for your course, those cells will be ignored. Columns may appear in any order, but must appear. Column headings must match exactly that found in the template. And you want to make sure that your file identifies as text to avoid errors. Okay, so that's a settings file in the Excel application. Make sure it's to text. So I believe I showed where there was a combination of both. So this is both segment and competency in an import document with all of the information there. And then this last tab here is the actual template. So you can download this template and use it, this here. These templates are just examples, but this template is available to use. And all the information is there all the way up to unit 35. So you can utilize that. So I'm going to demonstrate my file that I created into our Avondale School District. I'm sorry, 1 second. One second. One second, just getting my document here. One second. All right, let's try this again. Wrong file. As you can see, the errors are popping up. My file is not working with me today. 1 second. There it is. Okay. Okay. Okay, so after all that, I found my file. Okay, so as you can see, I imported, so I'll do it again here and show you my file. Okay, so this is my file here. I do apologize about all that. Okay, so this is our template that we use that I showed you. This is all of the information that can be entered in. So as you can see right here, I have in the second row here, I have a course. So I have all of my information in the beginning and end date, the pick number. I have my segments. This is a Perkins 4. So I have my segments in here. And I'm going to import this course file um, into the import record. Okay, so we're going to do that. So I'm going to close this out in order to import. So I'm going to close this out here. We're going to go back to our CTEIS application. Okay, and we're going to select our import file. And this import file is going to be this one. This is the one that I just showed. We're going to open. And as you see, I have a green. The green indicates add. There's a blue that indicate update or renew. So this is an import. Okay. So as you can see, the first column here or the first row is ready to upload. This second course gives me a lot of errors. It's an invalid program. I need to check the PSN. The beginning and end date isn't correct. So at this point, if this was a course that I needed to import, I need to remove this file, fix it offline, and then upload the file again. Okay. So that it can be all set to go, will give us that green verification that it's a valid upload. But since I'm not going to use this course here, this was just for an example, I'm going to go ahead and upload the course that is ready to upload. And that's this one that's green, the web design and digital tech. I'm going to, if I wanted to export to review offline, I could do that by clicking this export button and it will create an Excel export that has this document on there. That's just for reference or review. If you choose to do that, it's not required. But since this looks good, I'm going to go ahead and upload. And as you can see down here at the bottom, it gives me an updated course verification and it gives me the description of the course. So that course was updated and it's no longer in the panel here. Okay, so let's go back here to manage courses. We're going to select the district. That was Avondale School District. And we're going to look for that course. So the last time I did this course, and here it is down here. This is the one that I just input. That web design and digital tech. We can see that it's here. Okay, so if I need to come in and make manual edits to this course now that it's uploaded, I can do that. Okay, if I need to change anything, I can do that. But it has my course staff, it has all my segments, and everything is accurate. So now I can then import students or manually input students into that course if I wanted to. That is a created course. Okay, so that's how you do an import of a course. And again, multiple courses, you can combine both Perkins 4 and Perkins 5. I showed you where the templates are, so you have those options. And just to take you back, this is the data entry and this is imports where you can get those templates. We're going to go back to enrollments to go back to our training module here so that we can go into our next topic, and that's manage students. And just as courses, students work the same way. And this is step-by-step information on how to manage students. And in the manage student screen in CTEIS, you can add, edit, and review student information. You can create a student record by doing it manually, just as you did with the course information. So all of the panels are explained in this document, this reference document here. So just as with the course, the information panel, the student details panel contains the first name, middle name, last name, the date of birth, gender, address, phone number, email, any contact information, the sending building and facility, the UIC. Again, each student in record must have a valid UIC. There is a panel where you can see the UIC status and the UIC status date. There's an MSDS panel where it lets you know all of the MSDS data. That's the student record that's in the system. English learner, grade. This here is an example of the MSDS data panel. So the stuff that I'm reading off here are all indicated here, and this is filled in by the student record in the MSDS. So once the student is in the system, that information is generated here in this panel through CTEIS. So all of the details in the MSDS panel. And this is all of the bullet points of all of the information in the MSDS panel. To bring your we were talking about new information. This is new. Okay, so the migrant student, this is something that was not required before. And I'll show you an example of this in just a moment, but it is now required that you record migrant student information. We have a migrant student reference document. I'm going to show you that in just a minute. But if you have a migrant student, I was informed that you already know it. This does not apply to everyone, but if you do, I'll show you how to input that information. I have an example. Number 4 is how to edit and review program enrollment history. So you have a program enrollment history panel, and it has all of the start and end dates, the course details that the student is enrolled in. And this is an example of that panel. So you can see that it has the segments here. This is a Perkins 4, and it has all of the information here. And then just as we did with courses, you can review your student data by using the data reviewed reference document. And we're going to show that at the end where we show you where you can review all of your data. But this is a link here in the managed student reference document that you can review your student information. Just as we did with with courses, you can import your students, as I have already stated, and the process is the same way. There's a different link that you use, but just as with courses, if you have an error, you want to remove the file, correct the error offline if you need to change, or you have a number mixed up in your UIC or something is off, you need to correct that offline and then upload the file again. And these links down here at the bottom are just templates to for your import files to import your students. Okay, so we're going to get over to our manage student screen and see this. and show you how to do your student data. So just as we did in data entry, instead of going to courses or import courses, this is where we were earlier, we're going to go to manage students. Okay, we're going to select the building just like we did when we were in courses, Avondale. And it just says the courses panel. If I needed to add a student, I can click this button and it takes me down to this panel where I can manually enter in the student's name, the date of birth, the gender, the sending building. I have a drop down list that I can choose from. The MSDS data panel is, you cannot edit this information. This information is automatically generated. Okay. The UIC, I can put the UIC in and then the information will generate here. So this is for a manual entry. So once I enter that information in, I'm going to hit the Save Student button, and that information will update, and CTEIS will give me a success message that that student has been updated. I can search for students. If I want to work with an existing student, I can search for a student by UIC, by name, date of birth, by using these columns to filter my data here. Or I can click the search button. If I need to, I can search. Again, this Avondale High School record is all of the students that are in school because this box is checked here. So it's all of the students that are in school. If I want to export this data into an Excel file, I can hit the button here to export to create an Excel file if I need to review that information offline. So if I click on the student icon, as you see, all of the student information updates down here in the panel. So I have a name and a date of birth, phone number, address is in here. Again, this is for the demo, but you see the information is here. My UIC is here. And I do want to point out when working with the students, for training purposes, my UICs are not actual UICs. We have to obfuscate the data for UICs. This is required by OCTE. So the data here is not real data. Okay. So you may see an error if I try to say import this student with this, I would say scrambled UIC because it's not a valid UIC. And when you import, it actually checks the MSDS in the import process, and that's why it kicks out an error. So when I do my import, you're going to see an error because I can't use real UICs, but I'm just going through the process to show you how it works. But it has a UIC status, status date. If I wanted to check the UIC, I can press the button here. If I gotten a error message regarding UIC, if I've already tried to input the student and I needed to check it, I could check the UIC here. And as you can see down here, UIC invalid, found UIC. So it was success. It did check and it's invalid. So then I would have to check offline. Okay, what is wrong with the UIC here? Or do further research into the record here of the MSDS. So you get the point if you need to do that as far as invalid UICs. And we have documentation on that if that ever happens. But this is the MSDS data panel. And as I stated, all of the information is here because I have the UIC here. So I have the grade, the ethnicity. And as you can see, as I stated, the migrant status is yes. So if we go down to our program enrollment history, we see that I have here MSIX class hours because this student is a migrant student. So then I can input that information into these boxes here or use the drop down to input um, clock hours, and that's the new requirement. So we do have documentation. I'll show you in just a minute. But if you have a migrant student, you're going to see these two columns. If you do not have a migrant student, they won't be here, and you won't be prompted to do anything regarding migrant students if you don't have any. So this is all of the panel here. We have our course, and it tells all of our course information or our courses. It tells our course information. We could see that the advancement status is a completer for this student. The work-based learning experiences are here to the program. So this is all of the student data. And again, this is all manual entry. I can utilize these drop-down buttons if I want to adjust grades. I can do that. And again, it's not working for me because this is a training, but that is where you would use those features. So we're going to demonstrate how to import a student, and then we're going to do the same thing. So we're going to go to data entry. Instead of going to manage students, that's a manual entry. We're going to go down here to where it says student course enrollment import, and we're going to select that. And that's how you import a student record. So you're going to select the Avondale again. Same screen as before. We're going to click this, select our file. And as you see, the first student here has errors. The UIC is invalid. So then I would need to check offline and contact those responsible for the UIC checks. But this bottom result is green. So this is a valid UIC, the name, all of this is correct. So again, if I needed to upload just this one student, I can do that. But because I have all the errors on this student above here, I'm going to remove the file, make the changes, and then try to upload the file again. Okay, so that's how you upload using the Manage Student screen. And I'll show you the file templates for for importing students. So this is our Manage Students reference document. We want to go back up to imports just as we did. So data entry and imports. And we're going to go down to students. So this is a specifications guide, and then this is the student Excel headings file. And this is the heading. So it shows all of the headers that I need to import a student. All of the documentation is there. Out of workforce, course section code. Now, this template can be used as we go into our next topic of manage enrollment. If you want to input your student course information, that's CSC. This template can be used as both. So you can import your student record as well as courses using this same import record. So the beginning and end date of the course, if the course has work-based learning, the subsection, and the course grade. So all of that information is there. So I can fill out all of that and import the student as well as the course with the same template. So we're going to go back to our enrollment module, and we're going to go back to our tasks, and we're on to the migrant student information. Again, if you have migrant students, this is the new documentation that you want to review. It gives a list of codes, as I showed that drop down list in the migrant student section. You can enter in these codes to report clock hours. And it's a step-by-step information on how to do that. Going into manage students, I've already demonstrated all of that. Again, this is just an indicator. If you have a migrant student, it will be indicated in the MSDS data panel. And then this is where you would input that clock hour information. So again, how to add and edit MSIX course section ID and clock hour. So this is specific to course section ID. So that's here. And then this is clock hours. So that information is here. And the two separate panels, course section, clock hours. Right now, there's a question in the chat. Is there an import for migrant info or does it have to be entered in manually? Right now, we do not have an import. I can write down, we write down the questions to make sure that we update you all if it does become available. But right now, there isn't. It does have to be entered in manually, but I will ask the question if it's on the list to be added to the import record, so I can check into that. Okay, so I got that down here. Okay, so again, that migrant student document or reference document is on the knowledge base. So now we're going into manage enrollment. This is one of the screens that you can import your student grades and update your information. So this is one of the tasks that you will be doing right now. Just as with manage students and courses, you will go into the same login information into CTEIS. This documentation goes step by step of what I'm going to demonstrate in just a moment on how to open the manage enrollment screen, how to select the course, and how to enroll students manually using the manage student screen. And again, I'm going to demonstrate all this, but this is just a screenshot of what it looks like and the available buttons and features that you can use. If you need to edit enroll students, there's a button. If you need to enroll students, there's a button. And this is subjects that you would edit, and I'll show you those in just a moment. And then if you need to copy or transfer your enrollment, there's a button there. And this is step by step of how you can do that. Now, again, just as with courses, to copy enrollment, you would click the copy enrollment for a student. If you want to keep the student enrollment records within the original course intact and duplicate them into the course section indicated in the available courses field. So if you want to copy the enrollment, you would select or use the copy enrollment feature. If you want to transfer enrollment, you can click that to remove the enrollment records from the original course and move them into the indicated available buildings courses. So it's taking one out or duplicating it, and you have to make sure that you know which one you want to use there. Again, using the manage enrollment screen, we can do grade inputs. So that's step by step there. This next section here is a letter grade and definitions chart of comparable GPAs. So the letter grade and then the comparable grade all the way down here. So different districts use different grading. So if your district uses a point system for grades and provides no letter grade, use the following comparison table to determine the comparable letter grade. So just keep that in mind. This here up here under grade input also explains if you use a pass option as your district. So just keep that in mind. This includes the district counts below the 2.0. So all of that information is there. And then just as we did with courses and students, it's a step-by-step on how to import your enrollments. And I'm going to do that with that template that we just used. Okay, so let's get over to our enrollment screen. So you have documentation there, and we're going to go to our demo. We're going to go back to data entry, and we want to select manage enrollment. And as always, we have to select here. So it's prompting me to select my district. And then it's going to fill with the courses available within that district. So we have 53 records here. And this is all of the records here. I want to pick that course that I had earlier. Okay, so this is the course that I imported during our demo. As you can see, total enrollment's 0. Okay, so the buttons that we have here, we can enroll students, update enroll students, or copy transfer students. So if I click the enroll students, I'm going to select the district. Again, I can search by UIC or by first or last name if I know the student specifically that I want to enroll. But this then populates with all of the available students that I can enroll. Okay, so I'm just going to select some students to add to my course. And as you see, it updated real time here, and it highlights it when it's updated. So I just added those 2 students there, and it gives me a message way up at the top here with a checkbox that says the student and the UIC here successfully enrolled. And there they are. So this is my new course that I created. And then I have 2 enrollments within this course. Now, if I want to update enroll students, I can click this button after I select the students. So we're going to select the 2 students, update enroll students. And this is the update enroll students panel. So I can change, as you can see here, the asterisks indicate that I need to make sure that the enter and exit date is valid. So I can change it and then click the update dates button. So you can do this separately for each panel here. If you want to input work-based learning, you can enter that here and then click update work-based learning codes. And again, we have a work-based learning section coming up in just a minute, but you can manage work-based learning in enrollments. Okay, or you can input work-based learning in enrollments. If you want to change subsections, the same applies. And then, hold on, sorry. And then the last one is grades. If you want to change grades, you can use that and then update grades. And then once you do that, CTEIS will update all of that information. If you want to delete enrollments, so if I wanted to delete the 2 enrollments that I selected from this course, I can use that button there, if I needed to do that. Same applies with the copy transfer student. So I selected the 2 students that I want to copy transfer. Again, the asterisks indicate that all of this information must be correct. If I copy the enrollment, it's going to keep the enrollment intact and copy it into the available building. If I transfer enrollment, it's going to take it out of this current enrollment that I have it in and transfer it into another. You can use this or you can hit the select all button if you have, of course, more than the two that I'm demonstrating today. Okay, and we're going to now demonstrate. So that's a manual update of enrollment and grades and work-based learning. So all of that again was within the panel. If you select the student and update enrolled students, you can go in there and do that. So now we're going to demonstrate how to update using the other feature here. One second. Okay, so again, just as we did earlier when we just imported the students, we can import students' enrollments, work-based learning, and grades. So this is just the process as before. We would select the school district, import the enrollment file. This is if I'm specifically wanting to update the student enrollment and grades. Okay, so as you can see here, again, this is the course information is found here. This one has errors because of that UIC information that I told you earlier, but all of the information is here. If it's all ready to go, I can then hit the upload button. But again, to change it, I need to change my enrollment file. And that's going back to the enrollment file that you created with the template. And this is the student enrollment template. So course grade, subsection, work-based learning, all of that information for the specific student is here. And again, that information for importing your student and work-based learning can be found on the Manage Enrollment reference document. And if we go back to data entry and go to imports, we see here that we can download that headings file for the enrollment import. That's where the okay. So we have a response as far as the migrant student import document. According to the research that Diana provided for us, the information comes from the MSDS and cannot be imported by users. If it is not correct, please go to the MSDS resolver in your building. So you want to make note of that. So, and I'll make note of that as well. Thank you, Diana, as far as the migrant student being on the import template. Okay. So now we're going to go into, we did our manage enrollments, our manage students, our manage courses. We're into manage work-based learning. So we're going to go back to our documentation in our training module, and we're going to go to manage credentials. Well, we're going to do manage credentials first and then work-based learning. So this here is a a break. I can provide a break if needed. We have just 2 more topics, so it's completely up to you. If you all want to take a 10-minute break, we can do that, and then we will finish up within the next couple of minutes. Oh, okay. All right. This managed credentials document shows all of the information regarding managed credentials, how to open the managed credentials screen, how to select your credentials by program here. If your program isn't going to offer credentials, you need to make sure that you select that, because it's going to CTEIS is going to look for whether it's going to be credentials or not credentials. So you want to make sure that you make a selection there. And then it's broken up by all the credentials available. I'll show you the list of credentials we have here. You can also import credentials as we've imported all of our other data earlier. So there is a file format for your Excel file to import credentials. You're going to need your UIC, your PSN, your credential code, and your credential name. And then this is step by step on how to upload your credentials if you choose to upload. This next section here is if you have errors. This is an error resolution chart, just so you would know what the codes mean if you get them during your import. Okay, so we're going to go to our credential screen. So a credential is a qualification of a specific set of competencies related to a particular industry or occupation. So credentials can signal that an individual has acquired the knowledge, skills, and ability required in a specific occupation or industry. So when you're managing your credentials, you need to list the students who received the credentials in the current year or state that no credentials were provided in the current year. So we're going to change our screen back to our training site. And we're going to go back to our data entry, and we're going to manage credentials. As always, select our district. And then here we can, again, it shows all of the programs found within the Avondale School District. There's 12. If we need to use this as a review document, we can export this into an Excel file. All of the programs here are listed, so we can select the program we want to edit. As you can see, we have our program number, program serial number. This is a regular program. Our zip code, that's our program details. This is business, administration, management, and operations. So if I want to select students to award credentials, I can select all currently enrolled, or I can specify by a particular course. I also have a selection here in school, but not enrolled, if I needed to go back and add credentials for those who are in school, but not enrolled. And then I would select the Get Students button. If I had students to award credentials to, they would appear there. Down here at the bottom, and then I can award credentials. If the course isn't going to award credentials, we need to make sure to check this box here. Business administration and management will not have any credentials. Again, all of this documentation here can be exported to an Excel document, so you can do that here. If you want to search for a specific student to award credentials to, you can then put the student information in here. So down here, the students will be listed in this column here. You can select the student by clicking the box, and then you can select the appropriate credentials that you want to apply. So a list of authorized credentials are listed here for this program. And then supplemental credentials are listed here for this program. And then if I wanted to type in a suggested credential, I can do that here. That's you can type in that area. And then once you have it, you would click the add credential, and then CTEIS would return a message, success, the credential has been added for this program to the student. So that's how to manually enter in the credentials. If you wanted to do an import, you can go to upload credentials. And just as you would choose your import file. So then you can create your your Excel document, and then open it just as we did, and you would process. The template for managing credentials is on our knowledge base. So we're going to go back to our knowledge base. So this is the manage credentials document on our training tasks module. But what we want to do is we want to go back to data entry, and we go to enrollments, that page that I showed at the very beginning. And over in special collections, you want to go, there's a guide here. That's the same guide that I just showed you. The current credentials available for effective or since January 2023, they've been updated. January 2023, this is the current credentials as of January 2023. I'll say it that way. Current credentials as of January 2023. And then this is the credentials Excel template. Okay. And again, the instructions are here. So you want to go over the instructions on how to set up your import file. You want to have your UIC, your PSN, that's your program serial number, your credential code, and then credential name. And of course, the link again to the Managed Credentials Guide for reference is available in the instructions. And then this is the actual template. Okay, so that's if you want to import credentials. Okay, so going back to our enrollment tasks here, we know the next topic is managed work-based learning. And this is step-by-step instructions on how to manage work-based learning screen. So work-based learning is an element within the career and technical education that allows students to learn various skills by expanding classroom into the community. So with the work-based learning, you may see some of the codes that's referring to the work-based learning continuum. So you may see A, E. These are the experiences that are given for the work-based learning experience that the student goes through. So career awareness, career exploration, career training, or career preparation. And you can assign these according to the program. So when you're entering in your work-based learning, you can do it a couple different ways. You can do it as the import, as we stated during your enrollment. You can put it in there. You can do it into programs, and that's your manual, or you can do a mass enrollment. So again, manage work-based learning, that's the manual entry and review, or you can import your work-based learning by program. This is again another breakdown of the codes. So one student could have all of those codes, and meaning indicating that the student has have all of those experiences. You can have up to 30 characters per entry, so that's how it would appear. This here is a document that explains work-based learning a little bit more. That's to the michigan.gov website if you want to use that for review for through OCTE. So you can check that out. So these are the instructions on how to manually enter in work-based learning. And these are the screens, just as it is with the courses and students. It's pretty much similar, as well as with credentials. It's pretty similar. And I'll take you through these. So it shows how you can select if you want to specify the work-based learning experience, and then how it would look. So you can choose the student, and then this is an example of the work-based learning experience here. So we want to keep in mind that when you're inputting your work-based learning, you want to make sure you choose a process that you want to use and keep it, because you don't want to overwrite your events. Okay. So if you choose to import your work-based learning, you want to make sure that you import all of your work-based learning. Okay. If you choose to manually put in your work-based learning, you want to manually input. So in this screen, you can override events if you need it to. So you can remove previous experiences from a student and replace them with new experiences if you need to overwrite the events. If you need to append the events, you can add new experiences to those previously associated. Okay, so again, you want to make sure that you choose a process that works good for you, because you don't want to overwrite. So you want to make sure that you review as you go along to make sure that all of the student is getting all the experiences needed. There is a work-based learning data tracking tool, which is optional. You can use that. I'll show you where that is. And also you can generate a work-based learning report if you want to do that. This is the documentation on how to import work-based learning entries. And we kind of showed that already, but we'll do that again, specifically for work-based learning. Again, you could do it through enrollments, but we'll show how to do it through the work-based learning. Okay, so we're going to go back to our training site to show this demonstration. So now we're down to work-based learning, manage work-based learning. Select their district. Again, it shows all of the programs found. I can export all of the students with work-based learning to an Excel document if I need to. But if I want to select a specific program, I can do that. It opens up in the bottom panel. And as I stated, all of the programs that's available, courses that are available within this program pops up. I can select all currently enrolled. I can select in school but not enrolled, or all students in the program. Or I can select it by specific course. By specific course if I wanted to do that. And the course information is here. If any of these courses will not have work-based learning experiences, I need to select here. And this is an important note here. You can select this button if you want to import work-based learning experiences from your enrollment records. Please note, this will overwrite any events currently stored for a student. So that's why I said you need to choose your process and stick to your process so you don't overwrite your information.
This section down here, I can search for a student by name. So let's say we'll select all currently enrolled, and then the students will then pop up in this panel here, and I can select all and then input the work-based learning experience. Okay. Okay, so now we're going to go into how to import work-based learning. So we want to go to data entry, and we're going to import work-based learning. Just as the other ones, I would choose the file that I want to use to import my work-based learning experiences and then load the records here. I'm going to show you where you can utilize all of the templates for work-based learning. That's on our knowledge base. So that's our document. If we go back to our enrollments homepage, we see that all of our work-based learning is here. So work-based learning guide, the tracking sheet with instructions is here. So how to set up your record here. So as you can see, if I was to use this template, the column A would be here. Then I would enter in all of the information, and I'll show you this in just a minute here, if I can make this smaller. So this is the actual template. So UIC, first name, last name, PSN, program name, and then the work-based learning experiences can all be here. But you want to make sure you follow these instructions here. And use that as an example. So your column for your work-based learning would look something like this. Your actual document would look something like this. So that would be your UIC, your first name, last name, PSN, program name, your work-based learning experiences, and then a description. And then you can import that. Oh, sorry. I'm just talking. 1 second. So in the question, I'm sorry about you all not seeing. So again, this is the template for work-based learning. I'll show again. It was on the homepage of the enrollments homepage under special collections. But this is just the template for work-based learning, and it shows all of the experiences here, broken up by column. But if you scroll down here, this is how it would appear on the actual template. So the student's UIC, the first name, last name, PSN, program name, the work-based learning experiences here, and then the description. So that's how it would appear. This is the actual template that you would use to import your work-based learning. So that's how it would look. But you can use the instructions to review and set up your template correctly here. And to answer the question in the chat, did I say something about beginning date and end date needing to be in text format? Just make sure that when you do your import files, that the settings in the actual Excel document isn't not, like numeric or letters, so that it's typing in what it is that you need it to be typing in with your import file. That's all I was saying regarding the text format. Okay, so all of the information is here. And again, when you have your import file set up, you want to make sure that you're importing your work-based learning. And that was the screen that we have for the import. You would choose the file and load your records. And again, the work-based learning information is found over here under data entry and enrollment. You look over here on special collections, and it's over here on the side. We're going back to our homepage for our training today. So we've covered all of this information here. We went through all of the data that you would have to input, looking forward to the enrollment completion and collection deadline that's going to be coming up in June. So you want to make sure that you're verifying all of your information. You're tying your staff to your courses. You're inputting your students and into courses, and making sure that you're giving them the work-based learning if it applies, the credentials if it applies. Once you have all of that information, you're going to go into the review process. You could use it as a review. This is a review document here that you can use if you need to review your course data. So this is broken up by the specific types of reviews. So we have the 3-year instructional design, if needed, if this is something that you've been doing in the past as far as your courses, then you can look back for the couple of years back. Of course, this wouldn't apply if it's a brand new course. The It's broken up by Perkins 4 or Perkins 5 if you want to use that as a review. You have the list of courses by building report, and it shows all courses running within a selected building during the current school year. So you can use it to verify that your course entry within the specific building is accurate. And you can use this as a tool to verify with your building administrator. You can also use the active district staff listing report if you need to see an active list of teachers within your district. So that's another report. Going into reviewing your student data, this is all of the information here. There are a couple of tools you can use to review student data. You can use the Check UIC button, which I demonstrated earlier under the Manage Student screen. The BAT UIC by building report is available. The UIC with no current MSDS report is available, and the student advancement report export is available. And this is all a breakdown of each individual report, just a description of what it provides and how to access it. I'm going to show you how to do that in just a moment. And then this last section here is how to review your enrollment data. And you have your class student list report, your program enrollment history report, your program counts report, and you can access all of this as well to review your actual enrollment data. This last section here is just how to print your CTEIS reports. You need to print them for your own records. You do not have to print them for your submission. So to show you where all of these reports are and how they're broken up, we're going to go back to our training site. And instead of going under data entry, this time we're going to go under reports, and we're going to go to building reports. And this first section is audit reports. This is our class student list, BAT UIC by building, UIC with no current MSDS. All of that is under the audit report. So you would select it and then it would generate a report. The same for this second section, which is program and student reports. This is the student advancement export. The export will export into an Excel file. So if you select that, it'll show all of your courses on this screen, but then you can hit the export button and you will have all of that data in an Excel export. The EMC and dual enrollment report, program counts, program enrollment history. And then this last section is program and course reports. This is where the 3-year instructional design report is found. The list of courses by building, the active staff district listing is here. So you can utilize all these reports by clicking on the select button on the left-hand side here. So once you have input your data and you have reviewed your data, we're now moving into, so that's our data review document. We're now moving into submitting your data. Now, going forward, we know that we don't have to do a submission right now. We're doing all of these steps and tasks to prepare us for our enrollment and completion report that's due in June. So this is just a brief, we're going to cover this material more in depth going forward into our next training that starts in April. But this is just a document to overview submission processes. So this is, of course, an example of a fall course completion collection, but it shows the same process. So this is the process that you would use for all of your reports, if it be your follow-up or your expenditures. The submission processes are still the same. So it tells information for review and submission for your fiscal agent and your CPIT, and all about your reviewing your reports and then submitting your reports. So this is the instructions for the building reporter to submit that information to the FA, the fiscal agent, so that they can then submit that information to the CPIT. So it states here that once you submit your report in the completion screen, you're going to see an X. That means that you can no longer make edits within that building. If you need to then make edits, you need to contact your fiscal or your CPIT, depending on where it is in the process. But you want to make sure that all of your data and all of your inputs and edits are done before you submit. So that's very important. And we're going to show that submission screen. So back in our training module, I'm sorry, our training site, back on our training site, we're back under the data entry tab, and we're going to go all the way down to building course review. We're going to select our district, and as you can see, there's a course here that I have. So at this point here, it shows under the building status, I need to validate. So this is the building reporter status, the fiscal agent status, and then the CPIT status. So if I was to view this particular building, it shows all of the programs here. And I can review that information. As you can see, as I select view, this complete button popped up. So once I have reviewed all of my information and data and everything is tied together and everything is entered in, I can then hit the complete button, which will send it to the fiscal status. Once the fiscal status receives it or the fiscal agent receives it, they will then review that information. If there's any errors or corrections to be made, they would then send it back to the building status. Okay, so a building status can't send directly to a CPIT status. They have to send to the fiscal level. Once the fiscal level has it and it is all set to go, they would then send it to the CPIT level. And I have all of the dates. I'll show you those again when all of that is due. But you need to make sure that all of your information is in at the appropriate time so that you can submit your data. Okay. All right. So we're going to go back here to, I believe we covered all of our documents here. I'm just going to go back to our knowledge base just to kind of close out. So that was our submission document that was at the very bottom. Down here, again, the agenda is available. I will update with today's agenda. This is the agenda from Tuesday. It's the same agenda, just has a different date on it. But yeah, it's here. Once I have both videos, I did record Tuesday's training as well as this training. We're going to combine them or adjust them accordingly. But once the video is posted, it's going to be posted here in this module so you can review the training video. Okay, so you have the agenda, the training video, all of the documentation that we went over today, and all of the procedures are here. Everything that I went through is on this data entry under enrollments. Again, under the optimizing spring enrollment set, it's called new spring enrollment task. Okay, so you can find all of the documentation and reference material there. All of the other materials are here if you want to use it for your review. So this is back to our agenda. We went through all of our demos. Of course, we went through our first portion. We went through all of our demos. We did a recap of our credentials, our work-based learning, our courses and students. And then looking ahead, you want to make sure that you register for the upcoming training for the enrollment and completion collection report. The sessions begin April 18th, but that April 18th date is already full. So there are remaining dates available. So you want to make sure that you sign up for one of those. Again, we're working towards the end of the year completion date, which is June 15th, 2023. You need to make sure that you have it into your fiscal agent at that time. Okay, I'm just going to show you again the home page of our knowledge base just to show you the dates one last time. Down here on the right-hand side, you show due to your CPIT administrator, I'm sorry, have it into your CPIT administrator June 15th. Please forgive me for saying fiscal agent. You want to have it into your CPIT administrator June 15th, 2023, and then they're going to turn it into OCTE by June 22nd. And then another important date is you want to make sure that all of your students are enrolled in at least one CTEIS course section with correct UICs and MSDS fields by May 12th. That's our match dates. Okay, so you want to keep those important dates in mind. And yeah, so this is the end of our training. We thank you for your time and attention. After this training is over, you will be prompted to fill out a survey on today's training material and how everything went. We ask that you please fill those out. We thank you so much for your time and attention. And yeah, this is the end of the training. I will remain on for a couple of minutes just in case anyone has any questions that they want to ask or want me to go back over something. But yes, have a great rest of your day. Be sure to sign up for the remaining dates for the training coming up in April, and we'll see you in the next training. Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you. Thank you all for attending today. Thank you. Glad that it was helpful. Okay, question in the chat. Is anyone having issues with enrollment, upload, invalid dates? So I guess if anyone's in having this issue here, anyone having issues with enrollment, upload, invalid dates? Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so it says, I'm getting invalid date message for students when students above them in the same course have this exact same dates are going through. Okay, it's an error message. I guess is anyone else having this issue? I can definitely take it down to. Have you contacted the help desk at all? Oh, you okay? Okay. So yeah, is there anyone else experiencing? Yesterday, the message was invalid. Huh. Thanks, Diana, for looking into that. And if anyone is still on that can't stay to the end when we end the meeting, you can use the link provided in the chat to do the survey. You don't have to wait till I end. If you want to wait, you're more than welcome to. But if you need to leave, you can use the link. Oh, okay. I didn't see that question. Under manage enrollments, when I click the book to get the list of students to appear below, there is a message that appears inline edits are temporarily disabled. Yeah, I saw that too. Thank you, Diana. They are working to make the flag go away. Inline edits are when you manually update a single student. At one time, they had turned that ability off. Okay. Oh, good. Perfect. Okay, it looks like everyone is maybe done with the chat. So we're going to go ahead and end. Again, that survey will pop up as soon as I end the meeting here. But thanks again, and we'll see you all in the next training. Have a great rest of your Thursday.